I'm thinking of all of you today across the state of Florida. I know the rise in case numbers is causing fear and apprehension. People are frightened, and they're especially worried about their parents, their grandparents, their loved ones who are most at risk. This virus is tough, but Florida is tougher. We can stop the spread, but it's up to all of us to do it. We have to step up and do both the simple things and the hard things to keep our families and our neighbors safe. Wear a mask, wash your hands, stay home if you can, and socially distance when you go out. I want every single American to know, if you're sick, if you're struggling, if you're worried about how you're going to get through the day, I will not abandon you. We're all in this together. We'll fight this together. And together, we'll emerge from this stronger than we were before we began. I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
And good evening, fellow Floridians. My name is Chris Wills, and I'm coming to you from Miami, Florida, where all over the Sunshine State, we are gearing up and getting ready, counting down to election 2020. 15 weeks to go. 15 weeks from tonight at this time, 7 p.m., we will be counting down to those big projections where we are going to be able to officially announce Joe Biden has flipped Florida blue. Better yet, better put, you, I, all of us across the state of Florida have flipped Florida blue with Biden. And that will effectively make him the 46th president of the United States. That's what's going to be happening 15 weeks from tonight, everybody. In just 15 weeks. That time is going to fly by. And we are very, very excited about everything that we have coming up over the next 15 weeks. We reported to you all, I guess, 2 weeks ago tonight that the Biden campaign has officially begun to hire staff in the state of Florida. We have our state director, Jackie Lee, and some amazing folks, Juan Peñalosa, who has been the executive director at the Florida Democratic Party, and really leading the party in such a tremendous way across the state. He's serving as an advisor to the campaign here in Florida. Karen Andre also serving as one of those chief advisors. So we are so excited about what we are seeing happen here in the state of Florida to get us ready to flip the state blue with Biden. But tonight we're going to kick everything off with somebody that has been working so hard every single minute of every day to get us precisely to this point where we're just 15 weeks away from making this happen. And she pulled off something that a lot of people were scratching their heads. How are we going to do this? The first ever Florida Democratic Party digital convention, completely digital. They pulled it off, and it was a huge success. And joining us tonight at the top of our countdown to the election broadcast here on Biden for Florida is none other than Florida Democratic Party Chairwoman Terrie Rizzo. Good evening, Chairwoman. How are you?
That's great, Chris. Thank you so much for having me tonight. And it's hello, everybody out there. I mean, it's great to be with you tonight. And yes, we had a big weekend, and the staff pulled it off. We had a tremendous effort on everybody's part, and they did a great job in doing that. So. First ever virtual convention. So.
Never done. We're really making history, right? Yeah. And we are going to prove how powerful digital tools like this can be in winning elections. And FDP has been at the forefront. The great thing is you guys were ready for this, right? Even before the pandemic, the FDP was gearing up its digital tools and has put together a tremendous team to get us to this point. So can you share with our audience, because I know there's a lot of people that are looking at the reality of how important Florida is going to be. And some of them are a little uneasy in their stomach. They're like, gosh, are we up to this task? Yes. I'm here to tell you, yes, we are, but better than me is the chairwoman of the FDP,
Thank you so
Chairwoman
much.
Rizzo, please
We've
tell us.
been working at it for 2 years. It's ever since the last election. We started implementing the programs to put things into place. And a lot of the people, who are watching were involved in that and have been involved as we started last year to ramp up and get ourselves ready. And it started with, implementing a number of programs that would make a difference. We are the ultimate swing state in Florida. We are the critical piece to the election. We're now rated as the tipping point state. And if Florida goes to Joe Biden, Donald Trump cannot win the White House. We know that there is literally no path for Donald Trump to the White House if Florida goes Democrat. So we are, in essence, what I call a one-state showstopper. If we deny our 29 electoral votes for Donald Trump, Joe Biden goes to the White House, and of course, we're going to elect Democrats up and down the ballot too. So we started last year, and we started implementing a number of programs to begin to amplify our voter registration, to build the margin that we needed, because elections have been so close in the past couple of years, and we know that we needed to expand our voter rolls. So voter registration was one key. Vote by mail is another. That was a success in 2018, and we wanted to build on that and had already started to do it. And then, of course, the pandemic hit. So we've increased that, and especially working digitally. And I am so thrilled to tell you and to tell everybody here, thanks to the work of all of you across the state, our staff and so on, that we now have a margin of vote by mail requests over the Republicans of nearly 470,000 vote by mail requests now.
Wow.
It's an incredible margin, yeah, and it's really super. So the digital team was part of that, because we knew we needed to go digital. We'd already started it, and then the pandemic hit. So we actually have a whole digital team, and what I think is, you all will appreciate that there are people who specialize in the different platforms digitally. So there's a TikTok specialist, there's an Instagram specialist, there's a Pinterest specialist, there's of course Twitter, Facebook, all of those. So people specialize in the different platforms and are doing that. And voter registration, online, online voter registration, online vote by mail registration is really key. So those are the kinds of things that have ramped up. So Leadership Blue, and to circle back to what you're talking about, our convention was the ultimate, the epitome of that, putting it all together and transforming what would have been a face-to-face weekend of schmoozing, training, mixing and mingling, and all that normally we do, as you know, at Disney. And instead we went totally digital and had everything online. So all the trainings, and there were more than 30 trainings over the course of the weekend, all the trainings were done digitally and online. There were the usual caucuses that were the usual caucus meetings, the Hispanic caucus, the Black caucus, the LGBTQ caucus, the Caribbean American caucus, et cetera. All those were held digitally and, virtually, if you will. And then of course the big gala, which was Saturday night, we put the cocktail party, if you will, where everybody had their own drinks at home. And then, but mixed and mingled with our congressional delegation before, and then the gala itself was done virtually with the one and only Joe Biden coming in too. So yeah,
you guys got a sample of what we're going to see in just about a month, right? Joe Biden at our national DNC convention.
That's right.
And Florida got him first.
Yes, that's exactly right. So that's right. So, and I just want to congratulate you all and everybody who are in on the call for all you're doing to help elect Joe Biden. We're all in this together. We all are pulling our efforts together, continuing to register voters, to sign up vote by mail. Your caravans are phenomenal, Chris. The caravans that have been going around the state. Love that. That's a great visual. In a safe way. It's a safe way to to give visual enthusiasm, if you will, for the candidates. So it's really great. I want to thank everybody who's participating in everything that you're doing.
Absolutely. And we're getting comments from people all over the state. They're going to be voting Biden and blue up and down the ballot.
Yes. Remember, it's with Joe Biden at the top of the ticket, but we want to vote up and down the ballot because we want to make change in Tallahassee. We want to, make change municipally and on the county level. We want to bring the entire state blue. It's really, really critical. This is going to be a redistricting year, coming up, reapportionment happens, and having more Democrats up in Tallahassee involved in that. It's very, very critical. So up and down the ballot, Joe for sure, because we need to have him elected as president. We need to bring our country back to a sense of decency and sanity, and compassion, and true caring for the regular American people. We don't see that from the Republicans anywhere on the national level or on the state level. Absolutely,
it's so important, and I have been involved in politics for a while, and every election cycle, people say it is the most important election of our lifetime. But what
Yeah.
I've been telling people,
Yeah.
this is the most important election in American history.
I
right?
think you're right.
Literally, it's
Mhm.
democracy on the line.
Yeah.
And, a big part of elections and how people vote
Yeah.
is a lot about the excitement that they feel for the
Mhm.
candidates, the that ability to rally people, to have conventions, to build up, as I've been saying for a little while now, Joe-mentum here in the
Yeah.
state.
Yeah. I love
Um,
it. Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and I want to ask you, your assertion, and you're just baseline from your gut,
Mhm.
as you've
Mhm.
been seeing this and you've pulled it off already once. What impact do you actually think that these digital conventions, not being able to gather delegates, not being able to have
Mhm.
those images all over the country,
Mhm.
where Americans are watching, people cheering on Joe Biden
Yeah.
as he accepts his nomination, thousands of people from all over the
Yeah.
country. Do you feel, now having pulled off a fully digital convention, that it's going to potentially impact this election in a negative way?
We saw a lot of enthusiasm during the convention. We actually saw it. Now, obviously, we all would love to be together, and we love to be sitting there cheering
Right.
and so on. But we also want to be healthy. We want our voters to live. We don't want to put them in a bad situation. So everybody understands that. And the enthusiasm, we are enthusiastic, and we all can be enthusiastic and take pictures of that, et cetera. What I'm seeing in enthusiasm is those vote by mails, the people signing up to vote by mail. That's a huge incidence of enthusiasm. And the other thing, Chris, I want to tell you is the returns are coming in now for the primary, because vote by mails have been out for about a week. And normally the Republicans are in first and they run up a big lead. And then the Democrats' returns start coming in, and then we start catching up. Guess what? We are already up on returns over the Republicans.
Wow.
Already. So already up. So, and we have about 470,000 more ballots around the state that are going out to Democrats, because we have that margin now.
Right.
To me, that shows the enthusiasm that Democrats have. It shows the enthusiasm to elect Joe Biden is the commitment. So that's the kind of thing. We may not get the in-person cheering and carrying on, which we will miss, but we'll see some of that. We'll do it digitally, if you will, and virtually. But the enthusiasm is there, and we see that. To me, that's where the real enthusiasm comes. It's turning out.
You're absolutely right. At the end of the day, it's about us recognizing how important this election is, and going out there and not only casting our ballot ourselves, but getting our friends, family members, our neighbors, our loved ones, everybody across our communities and across our state. Because like you said, Florida is going to be just so darned important.
It is so critical. I mean, and the eyes of the nation are on us. We are literally what we call the tipping point state. That we are the ones that will turn the ballot. For the nomination for Joe Biden, or excuse me, the election for Joe Biden. And if we will deny Donald Trump, he cannot win. There would be potentially other paths for Joe Biden if he doesn't win Florida, but not for Donald Trump. So if we win here, he's gone. He's toast. And as I always say, I live in Palm Beach County, right? That Mar-a-Lago is about 15 miles away from where I live, and I'm happy to have him here in retirement. We will certainly accept him here in retirement. So we want to send him here to Mar-a-Lago for permanent retirement, and to make sure that Joe Biden is in the White House.
One of the organizers that came down during the primary that was organizing in Palm Beach basically said, we're going to send him back to Mar-a-Larky, because Donald Trump is full of nothing but malarkey.
Because Joe is always saying malarkey.
That's right.
That's really great.
We're going to dub it now Mar-a-Larky.
Mar-a-Larky. I love that. Well, what about that?
So Chair Rizzo, we are about a month away from the national DNC convention. Can you share maybe some lessons learned from this digital convention that the FDP pulled off with just such perfection? Like literally, those of us that were able to follow it, it was compelling. It really drew you in, kept you interested, provided really useful information, and so and built up some excitement. I think people were genuinely like, wow, this is, even from the very get-go, like just when the introduction for the convention, the FDP convention began, people were like, wow, this is actually good. So lessons learned, your advice to those that are helping to organize the national convention, how to pull off a digital convention in a successful way.
And I think that they're already doing it. I know first thing is to be super organized. I mean, you just have to be everything has to be planned out and very meticulously organized. Be prepared for glitches. There are going to be, and I would imagine they're going to have a full team on this, but there may be some technical glitches, and to be prepared for that. And as I said, the organization is really key, and just be ready to handle everything and have the full staff there. But I know that they're doing that because it's going to be done nationally. So I know that they're already planning for absolutely every possibility and every technology. And the other thing is make sure that everything is publicized well in advance so people can access. They know what's coming up. They know what they to look for, and have the ability to get there quickly by digitally by following the scheme and following the agenda. So I think all of those things are important.
Yeah, and of course the great thing is for the national convention, the press. The national media outlets will be covering them as well, and there'll be a lot of wall-to-wall coverage, at least in prime time, of the major speeches, especially of that moment where Joe Biden will accept the nomination from those that have nominated him. And the great news that we're going to have the first female vice presidential nomination official there at that convention. It looks like we're going to get news about that just before the convention begins.
I know. Well, I was certainly all of the women under consideration are wonderful, but who I'm pulling for.
All of us Floridians, we're selfishly, right?
That's right. We're very well. We selfishly want to have our own Val Demings as the vice president because she's qualified. She's exceptionally qualified and would make a marvelous vice president.
Yeah, so. And I've been telling folks, my understanding is the final decision on VP hasn't been made. Yeah. And so it's great that us here in Florida are, Val Demings. But guess what? Talk to your friends in other parts of the country and explain to them the logic. Not only is she super well qualified, but as we've said, Val Demings on the ticket basically puts Florida in the win column. And that's game, set, match for Donald Trump. So tell your friends that. Tell them to post about it on social media so that from other states, that excitement continues to build for Demings.
And folks around the country may not know her as well as we do here. They had an opportunity, obviously, during the impeachment hearings when she was one of the impeachment managers, and she's been, on the Judiciary Committee and on the Homeland Security Committee. So she has, tremendous experience in Congress. Plus, of course, is a former police chief. So she, has a wonderful background and is very well qualified. And people, help to get to know her around the country.
Absolutely. One last question for you, because I know your time is precious and you're working every moment of every day to make sure
we
get those vote-by-mail ballots signed up for and that we win this election. But just like our eyes are on our convention, here in Florida, we're also very concerned about this craziness that the Republicans are proposing to do with their convention. And I just wanted to real quick share with the audience a tremendous ad that the FDP put together, No Jax RNC.
Jacksonville, Florida agreed to do what Governor Cooper would not, and that is host a full convention with no health restrictions.
Anthony Fauci of his own coronavirus task force says that it's still not safe for large gatherings like this one.
71% said they were either very or somewhat concerned about the possible transmission of COVID-19 if a large number of people gathered at the convention. People could be heard chanting, "No RNC," as the mayor walked by.
The record number of people in Jacksonville testing positive. We're seeing massive lines of people being tested at all sites around the city.
Hundreds of more local doctors have signed onto an open letter to the city of Jacksonville. They want the Republican National Convention in August to be postponed.
Quote, allowing an estimated 40,000 people to descend on Jacksonville is unequivocally provocative of disease, predictably harmful, and medically disrespectful to the citizens of this city.
No Jax RNC. That's what everybody should be hashtagging all over social media. That is the message from the FDP. What do you say to fellow Floridians as they get growing concern that a week after our convention, Donald Trump is proposing basically to have a coronavirus convention right here in our state in Jacksonville.
And putting people at risk, not only the people that are coming in for the convention, but the people in Jacksonville themselves are going to be great at risk. All of the people who are going to have to be working at that convention and working around the city, et cetera, putting them all at risk. And then people are going to fly home to their communities and put their communities at risk. So this is, this is just absolutely atrocious that they're even considering doing this without following health and safety guidelines. And you saw where the sheriff actually came out today and said they can't guarantee safety because of the circumstances. So I mean, it is selfish. It's to have to have a photo op. This is what Donald Trump is putting everybody through. Yeah.
It is ridiculous, but I'm so glad that the FDP has led the charge to send the right message, and that we as Democrats across the state of Florida, nationally, are setting the example with Joe Biden as our leader, wearing the masks, urging people to stay safe, take care of each other. At the end of the day, I really strongly believe that's what this election is going to come down to, right? Who's the most responsible, who's putting forth the most responsible platform, and who has proven through not only words, but through their actions in the past and in the midst of this pandemic, that they actually genuinely care about the well-being of our fellow Americans. Certainly, that's not Donald Trump and his Trumpistas all over the country.
That's exactly right. And you just said it, Chris. That's a great way to conclude. That's exactly right. Who you see, you have two people, Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Who puts the welfare of the people first? Who cares about the people first? Who has the programs that will help people? Who is the person who is truly prepared to become the leader of our country and get us out of these crises and onto a path of normalcy again? So you said it greatly. And so it's all up to us. It's all up to us. And no pressure here in Florida, but because we are going to do it. We're going to flip Florida blue and put the 29 electoral votes into Joe Biden's column and send Donald Trump packing to Mar-a-Lago.
Absolutely. Chairwoman Rizzo, thank you so much. And I want to encourage everybody that's watching to go to the YouTube pages and the Facebook pages and Twitter pages and Instagram pages for the Florida Democratic Party and all of the local DECs because they did a great job covering the first ever digital convention that they pulled off this weekend, and you can still participate and learn so much from those resources that they've put up online. So I certainly encourage you to do that if you haven't already.
And thank you, Chris. And all of these, all of the trainings, as I said, there were more than 30 trainings over the weekend, and those will go to our FDP University. What we have FDP universities where we have many trainings and things that people can access to learn, and those will be posted to FDP University, so people can go and access these online. Lots of things for people to do. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, Chairwoman Rizzo, we'll be keeping a close eye on everything you all are doing at the FDP, and please keep asking all of us to do more, because we're ready to help make sure that you all continue on your leadership role to help us flip Florida blue with Biden.
Thank you. Thank you. And how many days do we have left?
We are 15 weeks away.
That's right.
We are 15 weeks away, and we're going to have in just a few minutes Congresswoman Gwen Graham, who, like me, has a countdown on her phone. I don't know if
How many days?
105 days left.
Yeah. I've been doing this. Actually from the last election, we started the countdown in numbers of days, and people, you guys, kind of a little joke, a running joke, because every time I would go anywhere, I would say there are X numbers of days, 310 days and 244 days, and now we're down to 105 days to the election. So
I can't wait till the day after when we can say we officially made it happen. And it's thanks to leaders like you. Thank you so much, Chairwoman Rizzo.
And thank you to everybody out there, and keep it up. Let's go blue. Let's go, Joe. Okay, let's win. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll be in touch soon.
Thank you.
That was Chairwoman Rizzo from Palm Beach, but leading us all over the state of Florida. Thank you so much. And also from Palm Beach, joining us tonight, I know she's short on time because she has another meeting to join us, is a fellow delegate to the DNC convention, a Biden delegate. Joining us right now is Sophia Nelson. How are you, Sophia?
Hi, how are you?
Good. I think your screen froze, but that's okay.
I know. I'm trying to come back in. Hold on.
No worries.
There we go.
So we will, as Chairwoman Rizzo said, these digital things always end up having some kind of glitch, but that's okay. We keep rolling with the punches, and we're going to have two very special delegates on tonight. We have been doing these countdown to the election live streams here on the Biden for Florida page for a couple weeks now. We started at the 20-week mark. And basically over the next few weeks, in the next month, we are going to be counting down to our convention. So we're going to have some conversations with our fellow delegates from all over the state. And tonight, we're working on getting Sophia on here in just a moment. But we also have joining us all the way from the Panhandle in CD2 or Congressional District 2, Rick Gable. How are you, Rick?
I'm good. How are you, Chris?
Nice button. I love it.
Yeah, I think I got it at the convention we had maybe a year ago.
Very cool. Yes, at the so we had the FDP statewide convention in Orlando that we would have loved to have been able to get everybody together, but this year they pulled it off in a digital fashion, just like you and I and Sophia and all the other delegates across the state are going to be participating in that. It looks like Sophia was able to get her video going.
Yes.
All right, we got Sophia on. How are you?
I don't know what happened. I'm good. How's everyone?
Technology glitches. I really appreciate you both joining us. I know, Sophia, you have another meeting to hop on, but I wanted to start off with you ladies first. You know, Sophia, we just heard a little bit from Chairwoman Rizzo how the FDP pulled off a fully digital, the first ever fully digital convention.
Was amazing.
Right?
I mean, from start to finish. I mean, the people that were a part of the gala with me here in Palm Beach County were like, we want more, we want more. I mean, they really, you would think that somebody would get tired of staring at a computer screen or a phone screen, but no, the information was so impactful and just so on time. And people had been just waiting for those tips and the stuff that would just get them ready for, you know, to get out there, to talk to their friends and to talk to their family members. And they were so infused. Right after my club had a meeting the next day, the Caribbean American Democratic Club here. And I'm telling you, for about 30 minutes, the recap of how they felt and the information that they were going to take back to their friends and their family was made my heart smile, as I always say. So it was superbly planned, and I thank them, and I'm happy that they were able to do that.
They really did a phenomenal job. Now, this is going to be my first convention ever. Rick, I believe it's going to be yours too, because I think you're one of the youngest delegates. I think maybe the youngest delegate in the entire state of Florida, maybe one of the youngest in the entire country. Sophia, have you had the opportunity? Can you teach us a few things? Have you ever?
No, this is not my first time being chosen to be a delegate, but this would be my first time actually being a delegate.
Awesome.
I was chosen to be a delegate, and then I declined because then I started working for the actual campaign.
Gotcha.
Beforehand, so I gave up my seat to someone else as an alternate. So I actually have not been to a convention.
Well, we are going to make history, the three of us, right?
Yes.
And we get to be the first because the Republicans are going to be after us. So we get to be the first fully digital national political convention. It's going to be a really exciting thing. Sophia, what are your thoughts, you know, having been working in politics as long as you have, about what we're going to be doing in about a month, nominating Joe Biden as our Democratic nominee from our homes at our computers?
You know what? I am completely excited about it. I think there's no way we can go back from this, whatever this new normal is. Right now, this is setting the precedent about everything else, what we think we thought about what voting is or reaching or voter engagement. I think this sets the precedent that we now can do so much more with the technology at our fingertips. And so I can't wait. If what the FDP put together was anything, I can't wait to see what the National has put together and where we're going to go. And who we're going to hear from. That's the cool part, right? And so I'm totally excited about the nomination, how it's going to be put together, and then of course the first female nominated vice president that presumptively will be the first female vice president in our country.
and who knows, maybe after Joe Biden, the first female president.
Yes.
Well, and we don't know who it is yet. We do know that myself and Rick are disqualified I don't know, Sophia, if you've heard that you might be vetted. I don't know, maybe, possibly.
Mum's the word. Mum's the word.
We're going to find out here really, really soon, and we're very
Yes, it might be me.
the news is gonna just, I think, break the internet, in my opinion. I think
Yes, it will break the.
I agree.
Yeah, it's going to be a really, really big moment for the Democrats and for our country in general. And Sophia, just real quick, because I know you got to go, and then I'll have a deeper conversation with Rick. You know, people, we were talking with Chairwoman Rizzo. It's a little challenging because everybody's going to be behind a computer screen. We're not going to be able to reach out and hug each other and cheer for each other on that convention floor. But we do have the delegates like you two and the DEC chairs all over the state are helping us to organize something that Chairwoman Rizzo alluded to, which is the convention kickoff caravan, right? This is going to be our 5th statewide caravan. We're ambitiously looking at every corner of the state of Florida. We're going to go all the way up to you, Rick, in CD2 and CD1, and we're going to be down here in South Florida, Central Florida, Southwest Florida, all the way down to Monroe. And Sophia, you helped us lead.
You know, I'm in again. That sounds exciting. I'm all in for that. Yes, yes.
So you helped us lead the one on Independence Day. What can you share with those that are watching right now what that was like and how you saw that it can help us build momentum and show that it's not going to be the same as thousands of people on a convention floor, but that we can really show some major enthusiasm that day before the convention kicks off, Sunday, August 16th, on this convention kickoff caravan?
Well, I could tell you the one that we did in Boynton, we did a little reroute and we end up going through the community. And for the people that were in their homes and for the people who were part of the caravan, people got excited. I mean, they were blowing their horns. I mean, and at that time, I wish I had a truck with a DJ on it, because I'm telling you that people were coming out like, who's all these people riding down the street? And they were like, oh, they were blowing their horns and waving and says, yes, Joe Biden. So like I said, people are sitting on pins and needles waiting for us, the insiders, to do something to get them engaged. So trust me, this caravan across Florida will blow people's minds and get them ready for voting, period. Yes.
Absolutely. It's going to be an exciting one. And we're building in the ability for people to sign up for vote by mail. And then if they haven't yet turned in their vote by mail ballot, they'll be able to do that as part of the caravan. So it's going to be a really exciting thing. Obviously, that's not for the November election. They're going to be turning their ballot for the August primary. But, you know, the caravans, again, have been able to help us get our communities beeping for Biden, beeping for Democrats, and getting excited about voting blue up and down the ballot. So,
up and down the ticket, up and down the ticket.
Leadership on that. We really, really appreciate it. Any last words before you hop off?
Listen, Chris, I just want to thank you. I mean, you have done a phenomenal job of weaving what I call the homeward bounds together, the ones who want to get out there and knock on some doors and can't. I want to thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your foresight. And God gives you the strength to do everything that you do, because you are everywhere, and I appreciate you. All right. I want to say thank you. Nice meeting you. And I look forward to seeing you on the delegate floor.
Absolutely. The virtual delegate floor.
The virtual delegate floor. Bye, guys. Thank you so much.
Sophia. Have a wonderful meeting. Appreciate you joining.
Thanks. You're welcome. Bye.
So that was Sophia Nelson in Palm Beach, who is a wonderful delegate and a tremendous leader within the Democratic Party across the state of Florida. And Rick, you have been a tremendous leader up in the Panhandle. That's an area that a lot of people think, you know, Panhandle, that's not going to be Joe Biden territory. But I think if you have anything to say about it, and if our next guest has anything to say about it, the 850 is going to become the 85 Joe.
That's right. You know, the Panhandle has got the perception that it's just totally red, all for Trump, which there is a lot of voters up there for Trump. But, you know, we have a lot of state workers, teachers, and farmers who are the backbone of our economy up there in the Panhandle. And Democrats have always stood up for them, and especially Joe Biden. He's been the front line for farmers and for teachers, and his wife Jill for a long time. And I think we're going to do very well in the Panhandle.
I see that too. I mean, I see that he's precisely the kind of candidate that can do very well in areas like the Panhandle and Southwest Florida, in these traditionally red areas. You know, I don't know that Joe Biden's going to win all 67 counties. I think he should, and he could. If we do the
I agree
work,
with you.
I think he absolutely could, because it's my contention. There's not reason that one logical soul in the entire country at this point can look at Donald Trump and say, yeah, 4 more years of this. No way.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, it's just so clear. So what are you hearing from fellow delegates and fellow voters in the Panhandle area as we get closer and closer to this moment where Joe Biden will officially be our nominee, which you're going to help make possible as a delegate?
That's right. So what we're hearing in the Panhandle a lot is, you know, they're excited for the virtual convention and they're ready for it. But, you know, as for me, you know, I'm a little sad because I don't get to go to Milwaukee and be with everybody. But I'm glad we get to make history and be on a virtual stage. But you mentioned 67 counties in the state, and now it's important that we are organized in all 67 counties. But it's not, we don't have to win all 67. We can just improve our margins just by a little bit in the Panhandle offset that. And that's how we win, is by improving our margins in places we didn't do so well last time and running up the score big in Palm Beach, Broward, you know, those Miami-Dade, those traditionally big blue counties, and run up the margins real big and just improve in the areas we didn't.
That's right.
And I think the Biden campaign will do that. I know that I've seen an article recently where they have started ad buys in the Panhandle, so that'll help. Yes,
we're starting to see those ads rolling through. We started tonight's broadcast with one of those, where it's Florida tough, right?
Yep.
We are tough here in Florida. We are tougher than this pandemic. We are tougher than this virus. But most importantly, I think in the larger scope of things, I really believe we are tougher than Trumpism, right? Because it's not just Trump is the problem. It's what Trumpism has brought to our country. And like the hat that I wear every week, we have to prove that we are greater than 45.
That's right.
United States, us, we are greater than 45. And that's what we will prove on November 3rd. So Rick, you know, like I said a few moments ago, looks like you're going to be among the youngest, if not the youngest delegate from Florida. Give Floridians a little bit of a peek behind the curtain of how that happened, right? How did you become a delegate for the Biden campaign? Because I'm sure, you know, like me, quite frankly, up until this year, I hadn't really paid attention to the delegate process whatsoever. Yeah. And I've really I've been very interested by how it all worked. And I'm sure that there are some people that are watching right now that say, I think it'd be kind of cool to be a delegate at the next convention, whether it's digital or not. So tell folks how you became a delegate.
Yeah, so becoming a delegate is one of the greatest honors of my life, to get to represent the 2nd Congressional District, which includes the Panhandle all the way down to, I believe, Marion County. So it's a huge district. But how I became a delegate started about 3 years ago. It started with me getting involved in my local DEC in Jackson County with Vice Chair Judy Mount, and going to a lot of state meetings, meeting a lot of state officials, and meeting a lot of state committee men and vice chairs, state committee women, and all that. And that's when you start to make relationships, so that when you call them and say, hey, I'm running for delegate, I really like your support, and they say, sure, I'll do it. And it also, I had a lot of support from the, union leaders, like the AFL-CIO in Tallahassee and the Florida Future Labor leaders. And they turned out a lot of votes for me, and I appreciate everything they've done. And I couldn't begin to thank everyone, but my friends and family in Jackson County really, really got their links. We did it digital this year by email. They got their links, they turned in their vote, and they all text me, I voted for you, so proud of you. And that was really encouraging. But I had a lot of support from not just my congressional district, but people who couldn't vote for me, others wishing me good luck. And so what I say to those who want to become a delegate in the future, to get involved now, so that way you have the foundation to run when you decide to run.
Absolutely. Start making those connections,
Yeah.
and it's about showing interest and getting involved
Yep.
in your party, in your community, in your state. And at the end of the day, it's our elected officials who we elect through this political process that are change makers, are the ones that are going to put into effect the policies that matter to us most. That's why this election that's coming up next month in just a few days or a few weeks, where basically they are going to be running most of them for local offices. We do have the congressional primaries on there as well, but a lot of the local offices, mayors races, commissioners, school board, a lot of these races are happening now in August.
Yep.
And too many people just don't pay attention to it. They're paying
That's right.
attention to the national presidential race and don't focus on those local races. But I know that you and so many leaders across the state are trying to focus people on that and making sure that they do make their voices heard and get good folks elected at the local level. And like Rick said, for this year, great, get involved. It's super important, but stay involved beyond November, right? And
Even in the off years.
yeah, absolutely. Because in my opinion, there is no off year, right?
That's right. There isn't
Literally
really.
every day, all decisions that are impacting our lives are made at the local, at the state, and the federal level. So
Absolutely.
the people that make bad decisions for us don't take any time off, right? So
No.
those of us that want good decisions made can't take time off either. We need to stay engaged, and that's the one thing that I thank Donald Trump for. I say Donald Trump has reactivated citizen activists all over this country and has helped people realize, wow, I can't just sit back and let government do whatever it is that the hell that they want to do, because look at how dangerous it can be, So,
absolutely.
So Rick, we're not going to get to go to Milwaukee together. Would have loved to. Unfortunately, Rick and I have not personally met, which has not happened. But I wish it had happened already, because as you can see, he's a really phenomenal young leader in our party and in our state. But we're not going to get to physically meet at that point. But what are your thoughts on this digital convention, right? I've been asking people, do you think that it's going to have a negative impact on this election? I just talked a little bit to Terrie Rizzo about it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think FDP did a great job pulling off the convention. There's always going to be hiccups when you do things digitally, but I think overall FDP did a great job, and I commend Terrie and Judy and Juan for their leadership in that. But I'm excited to have a digital convention. I think it'll be interesting, something new, different for voters to look at. And, CNN and all the big networks will be airing it live, so I don't think it'll have a negative impact on the election. I think Joe will be able to get his voice out there and rally the troops.
That's right. We're gonna rally, and we're gonna have our convention kickoff caravan to show that enthusiasm and excitement all over the state. Just the day before the convention kicks off. Again, for those that just tuned in, you can join us on that convention kickoff caravan. That's going to be on Sunday, August 16th at 2 p.m. It'll kick off all over the state, and you can sign up for that on our website at caravan.biden4fl.com. I know Rick is going to be a big part of helping us organize the one in his area there in the Panhandle, and there are going to be ones all over the state. So some people have been asking, well, where is it? It's where you are, because it's going to be happening all over the state. We have people all over the state organizing one. So wherever you are, there will be one right nearby. Rick, I guess the one last question that I would love to get your thoughts on is, as a young person, you're 21 years old, you've got your whole future ahead of you. You're looking at what's been going on here in the state of Florida, what's been going on nationally. And one of the things that worries me is that young people like yourself, and maybe even a bit younger than you, have grown up in an era where it's Trumpism, and then the divisiveness that was that's been spewed out from Trump since he launched his campaign. And then even before that, during the 8 years of Obama, right, where you had literally the Senate president, Mitch McConnell, say, I am not doing anything because I want this president to fail, right?
Yep.
And did that for 8 years where, not much was happening. So we've had, in essence, 12 years of just obstructive politics from the Republicans entirely, right? And that means that we're in 2020. So that means that anyone that was born in 2008 and forward, this is what they've grown up in, right? And I guess if they were maybe even 5 years old in 2008 and have grown up seeing this divisive politics, I really worry, do young people feel this is the normal? This is how American politics is. This is how politics is. So what's the point of me even getting involved? I would love for you to tell us, what do you hear from your fellow young people, especially as we go into this very important November election?
Yeah, so I hear a lot about young people. They're just, I'm sick of Trump. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of the Democrats. I'm sick of everything. But it's also important because politics and government touch everything that we do, whether it's education, whether it's our job, our health care, our retirement. It's all done by who we elect. And it's so important that we elect a good person for every office, a compassionate person like Joe Biden who has the experience, who knows what he's doing. And we also have to have a good vice president pick. I'm very excited to see who Joe Biden picks to be his vice president. I hope it's Val Demings. I'm a Florida boy, so I won't Val. But, it's young people, they feel they're sad about our politics, but it's also how we get them involved. I'm involved in politics for myself because I believe in public education. I believe our teachers deserve a raise, and I believe our support staff deserve a raise because, the custodian can touch the life of a student just like a teacher can. And, they deserve a raise just like a teacher deserves a raise. And we also have to fund our public education system more. But, and that's where parents come involved, and they tell their children, go to the school board meeting, fight for your education, even though they're little, you can still fight for education. You can get on the agenda. And so I think it's crucially important that every young person gets involved. And one of the reasons that I got involved is because of my grandmother. She is a sweet lady, and I'm sure she'll want to watch this once I tell her I've been on Facebook Live. But
she's going to get you the most shares of anybody.
Probably, yeah. All her friends will get on Facebook and talk about me. But, she is a state former retired state worker. And my grandfather is also, most of my family are state workers. And so I'm fighting for them. I fight for Joe Biden because I know he'll do the right things when it comes to COVID. So I can go hug my grandmother without worrying that I'm going to get her sick. And, I fight for Joe Biden because I know he's going to do the right thing with regards to Social Security and Medicare. And you don't often hear that from a young person, why they support Social Security and Medicare, why they're fighting for that issue. But because I fight for it because of my grandparents and my future parent who will be on that.
Absolutely. You've got your values and your head on correctly. And that's a testament to the values your grandmother and your parents raised you with. And I'm seeing more and more young people that do have their values set correctly and do have their eyes on all the issues that are before us, and they're paying attention, right?
Yeah,
they're paying attention in a lot of ways, even more so than some of the older generations, because right now the reality is a lot of the older generations are struggling to get by, are focused primarily on how do I not get sick, how do I make sure that my elders don't get sick, how do I make sure that I don't lose my job, that I can put food on the table. And a lot of them aren't paying attention to the day-to-day of the election, right? And especially these local races, so many of them are not focusing on those things. But young people are. So I really believe that young people in this election have a big responsibility to help educate older people on the importance of, not making sure that Donald Trump does not get even one more day in office, right? That we send a resounding message and together repudiate Trump and Trumpism. It's so important. And one of your fellow panhandlers is well, not panhandlers. One of your fellow folks from the Panhandle, also a fellow delegate, Samantha Herring, is on sending you a message welcoming everybody to the live stream from the Panhandle. So,
hey Sam.
So she's a great leader up that way, and we're honored to have you both serving as delegates to this next convention, and it'll be great to have you there. Any last message as a Biden delegate here in the state of Florida? Again, probably the youngest across the entire state, one of the youngest in the country. Your message to all of our viewers across the Biden for Florida audience.
Yeah, my message is plain and simple. I'm fired up and ready for Joe, and you should be too, because we need a compassionate leader in office again. We've had 4 years of craziness, of hatefulness, and it's time that we elect someone who cares about the people. And I believe that Joe Biden cares about the people. I believe that his wife, Dr. Jill Biden, cares about the people. And I believe his whole administration will fight for us every day. And that's why I'm going to continue to work so hard to help elect him. And I thank you, Chris, for having me on this. It was wonderful. We have to do this again sometime.
Absolutely. You know, we've got just a few weeks till the convention. We're going to be bringing on even more delegates every week. And we've got 15 weeks till the election. So we'd love to have you and more folks from the Panhandle. And we bring on folks from every corner of the state of Florida to talk with fellow Floridians about how we are working to help flip Florida blue together.
That's right.
And making sure that Joe Biden is the next president of the United States, that we make additional gains in the U.S. House of Representatives, and that we also flip the Senate and win up and down the ballot in all of our local races as well.
And another thing I want to add before we get off is, you know, the Republicans have been very good at using the Supreme Court as a way to drive out their voters. And I think it's time that we use that too. It's important that we win the Senate and that we say the Supreme Court is on the line, because it really is this time. And
Absolutely.
We need to elect as many Democratic senators, fund them as well as we can if you can afford to, because the Supreme Court is on the line this time.
Every night I'm saying my prayers, hold on RBG, hold on RBG, you know?
Yeah, me too.
And she is a tremendous leader. She is holding on for dear life to make sure that we as voters make the right choice in November, so that she can officially be replaced by a Democrat like Joe Biden. So, so we're eager for that. Rick, thank you for pointing that out to us, putting the stakes of this election in good context. That's important for people to keep in mind as they continue working towards this November 3rd election and talking to their friends and family members. We'll talk soon, buddy. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
And say hi to all of our friends in the Panhandle.
I will.
Thank you. So that was Rick Gable from Congressional District 2 up in the Panhandle. And he's a tremendous leader up that way, helping us to make sure, again, that we flip Florida blue and that we turn as many corners of the state of Florida blue and increase Joe Biden's margins. So it has been a really phenomenal conversation so far tonight. We had FDP Chairwoman Rizzo. We had several of our delegates join us. And right now, as I often encourage you all when we have a very special guest, I encourage you to click that share button because so many of your friends and family members will be thankful that you did, because we have a very, very special guest joining us to talk about a very, very important issue. Not as happy and exciting as what we have been talking about, but a very, very important issue for us to talk about tonight. But let me introduce first our guest, and then we'll bring on our next topic. And I am thrilled, as always, to have join us tonight former Congresswoman Gwen Graham. How are you, Gwen?
Yes, I'm fine. How are you?
Doing well, thankfully. We're all doing our best to keep our families healthy and safe through this pandemic crisis. It's a really challenging time for our communities, for our state, for our country, and just total lack of leadership from our local level in most cases, but certainly here at the state level, from mini Trump, Ron DeSantis, and then
Little Trump, I like to call him.
Little Trump.
I nicknamed him Little Trump back in August when I was raising the alarm about how bad he was for Florida. Little did I know that he actually was going to be lethal.
It is very scary, and you know, as the days go by, you would think reality would set in and say, you know, lives are being lost.
Right.
Let's just get this done. Let's stop playing the games that are costing people their lives and actually, you know, solve this crisis together. Put partisanship aside. It's not a partisan issue. Wearing a mask is not a partisan issue.
No, and anyone who knows me knows I am not a partisan person. I strongly believe that we need good people on both sides of the aisle. Unfortunately, the Republican Party has turned into the Trump Party. And until we defeat him on November 3rd and Joe Biden is the next president of the United States, we're not going to be able to reclaim what is good and what is right for our country. And quite frankly, until we defeat Ron DeSantis on November 8, 2022, we're not going to be able to do the same for the state of Florida. So, but we'll take it one election at a time.
Yeah, you know, we gotta get through November 3rd, but people do have to start thinking about 2022 because there are going to be very, very important decisions made, right? We have in 2022 the opportunity to send Ron DeSantis packing and Marco Rubio all in one election, right? And it's going to be a very, very important one. And you were one of the very first, if not the first, statewide leaders who said we would be where we are today.
My family's having quite the party behind me.
Well, those Graham parties, are you guys grilling with the Grahams?
We grilled with the Grahams last night. My youngest son, who's 25.
Hey, Steve, how are you?
Doing the dance.
Everyone across Florida. How are we doing?
I'm going to try to get my 25-year-old son. He was appalled the other day. This is totally off topic, but you know how I roll. And I never know where to look. Like, Chris, seriously? Like, I want to look
at the camera, right at the camera.
I don't even know where the camera is. How many Zoom calls have I done? I always feel it.
You're looking good, so.
Steve, where's the camera on this thing? So anyway, I don't even know who's watching, but what was your question?
Yeah, no. So a little over a year ago, you were basically the first big statewide leader, along with your dad, to look at the amazing field of candidates that we had and said, you know, these are really good candidates, but we got to win Florida. And you knew that we were going to be where we are today, where Joe Biden holds in the national polls, several polls already, a 15-point lead, but is also leading by a good margin in battleground states like Florida.
That's right. And I care so much about making sure that we defeat Donald Trump on November 3rd, 2020. And I did a lot of thinking about the candidates, and we had so many phenomenal people that were running for president on the Democratic side. And so many of them have so much to give to their state and their country. But I was mono-focused on which one of all of those great people could win Florida. I want to win this state so badly for our country, because if we win Florida, that's it. Game over. Donald Trump is no longer going to be the president of the United States. And we can deal with the time period between election and when Joe Biden is sworn in, but that we got to get there first. And so I looked at, I just evaluated all the qualities, and I firmly believed when I made my announcement that I was supporting the vice president, that he was the one that could win. And if you look back to any of the articles that were written at that time, or what people were saying, that was my mono focus. It was, we've got to win this. If you can't win, you're not able to do good. You're not able to make the changes that need to be made for our country. And it's going to be a big job. There's going to be so much to do. And the other factor that I considered was to be president of the United States is something that if you've never really been around it, if you've never really experienced what it means to be president, there is naturally a period where you're learning on the job. Well, we don't have a moment at this point in our country's history to have someone that needs to learn how to be president. And the vice president has so much experience, being 8 years as the vice president to President Obama, and also being in federal government for as long as he was. He knows how it all works. He's going to know from day one how to fix it. And that was another consideration. But frankly, it's all about winning. It's all about winning. I said during my gubernatorial election, if you win in the primary and you don't win in the general, you went through a hell of a lot of effort, and we are left with what we've got right now with is Ron DeSantis. So, but that's for another time. So when I made my announcement, what's interesting is this, if anyone's, I don't know how many people are watching, if there's anyone watching, but I always love talking to you, Chris.
We know for sure Steve Shale is watching.
I hope so.
Yeah, no, he posted up, yo Gwen.
Thank you, Steve. Love you. So anyway, I evaluated the candidates, and I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Often people will negotiate, like, I'm going to endorse you if there's any hope that I can do this or this. I don't care. I'm not looking for anything. All I want is to have a president that we can be proud of again as a country, and to have a president that can run this country well again and restore our reputation in the world. I mean, we are our laughing stock now. The country that has always been the beacon internationally, we are now a laughing stock. We can't even go to the Bahamas. Chris, if you and Daniela wanted to go to the Bahamas, you cannot go. Because we have done such as the strongest, best country in the world, we have failed at the test of what is the number one responsibility of a federal or state government, which is to protect the safety and health and welfare of our citizens. And we have failed. My daughter was supposed to go on a trip, and she can't go because she can't get into the country. So, I mean, we are in a spot where we've had other tough spots in our country's history, no doubt. But right now, I truly believe our country, our democracy is on the line, and making sure that we all get out. And look, whether you're a Republican, whether you're an independent, whether you're a Democrat, we're all Americans. We're all Americans. And you've got to be honest with yourself. You could be so ideologically unwilling to consider anyone other than a Republican in your past, but you've got to now look at yourself and say, I can't vote for someone that represents the United States of America in such a way that has put us in this position, and it has not exhibited leadership, and has not listened. I mean, one of my gripes during this whole time, and I've been pretty vocal about it, is, look, unless you're someone in elected office that has a background, who's a doctor or a scientist, what in the heck are you doing in front of TV cameras and microphones? We don't need to hear what you have to say. I don't care what you think. What I want to hear from, who I want to hear from, are those that have knowledge about how to navigate us through this. And clearly that has not happened. It has not happened on the federal level. It has not happened on the state level. And I'm sad to say, but this is going to be with us for a long time. And I have two very high risk, my mother would not want me to say, I will say older Floridians, and my mom and my dad.
Experienced Floridians.
The right word that's the right way to say it. They thank you for putting the word I wanted to say. That's exactly what I wanted to say. And I'm worried about them. They live in an active living community in Gainesville. I'm spending a lot of time down there helping take care of them. I am living like a hermit because I'm not willing to risk
not worth
any exposure, because I'm going down to take care of my elderly parents. So I'm making sure that I do everything to not even have there be a question mark if I might have COVID. I have been tested, and it took 10 days to get my test results back. So that's another huge problem with the just incredible spike in coronavirus cases that we're seeing in the state of Florida. There's no way that you can do what we must do to contain this, which is contact trace. You've got to be in a position, and my dog's going to now start barking.
Barks for Biden.
I know. Yes, they are. They're definitely for Joe Biden. My two dogs and my bunny rabbit. So anyway.
And bunnies for Biden.
Yeah, bunnies. You just start that, Chris.
We've got so many coalitions.
I mean, come on. There's tons of bunnies for Biden, I'm sure.
I agree.
Bunny will lead. She'll be the leader. So anyway, we've got to get our cases down. I mean, because we are in a position now where we can't take the steps that we need to take to curtail the spread. And so we're in a really concerning position. But we all know that. So I just want everybody, whoever's listening, to stay safe and be careful and wear a mask. I mean, this should be a no-brainer, right? I mean, when I do go out, I mean, I wear a mask, and I rarely go out now, and just care about others. You know, Dr. Fauci said something recently that he just said, how hard is it to care about someone else? This isn't about, you know, this is about showing the world that you care enough about someone else to wear a damn mask. Come on.
Well,
sorry if a damn is a bad
no,
word.
it's, you know,
if my mom is watching, she is appalled right now.
So. You're saying exactly what we're all thinking, you know, and I think that when we look back on previous elections, you know, elections have consequences, and we have to really consider what are all the possibilities that could come, and what a difference it would be if we had somebody who could give Florida one of those famous Gwen Graham hugs right now, you know, virtually, of course, because 6 feet of distance. But, you know, our state, our country needs an elbow bump. You know, we need that compassion, right? That people like you, people like Joe Biden, naturally have and naturally connect with people on.
Well, and I'll tell you, I have known the vice president for a long time. He served with my father in the Senate. But there is not a more compassionate person who truly cares. And it's very obvious to me when someone says something, whether it's genuine or whether they're just saying it. And frankly, I don't need people to just say things because they think it's the right thing to say if you don't really feel it. When I told, and I will try not to get emotional, but I've been very emotional lately for a lot of different reasons. But when I told the vice president about my husband's cancer, and my husband has prostate cancer, and it's spread outside the prostate. So once you get to that point, you will always have prostate cancer. It's just it's a management issue. And but when I told him that, he stopped, he turned around, he looked me in the eyes, and he said, "Gwen, what can I do to help you?" And he meant it. So that's the type of leader we need. We need people who really, look, you don't have to be the smartest person in the world, believe me. And we see in Ron DeSantis that just because you have Ivy Leagues on your resume doesn't make you a smart person. But you do have to have compassion for others. You do have to have a desire to get up every day and figure out how to make the lives of those that you represent better. It always surprised me in Congress when people would not consider constituency service to be something that they made a priority. And many of those in the Tea Party or the Freedom Caucus, they feel like constituency service is a handout. And I heard it from many of them. I don't think that Ron DeSantis, I don't know. I'm actually don't know for sure. So take it for what it's worth. If anybody out there if Ron DeSantis was your congressional representative and he did an amazing job helping you for something, I'm glad for that. But most people in the right don't feel that it's something that that they need to do. And then what's really ironic is a large part of the budget they give you to be in Congress is so that you can run not just your office in Washington, but you can run your office back in your district. Right. And many members who don't believe in constituency service, their offices are just pretty much just empty. They don't even, if they have an office, it's not very active. That was when I was in Congress helping people. Whatever I told my team, I said, if someone has an issue or a problem, never accept no as an answer. Find someone that will help us so that we can help them. And that was what I felt most passionate about, was helping people. So we don't have a president or a governor right now that has that compassion in their soul. They don't. And so it is something that our leaders need desperately, and Vice President Biden has it.
So clearly. And again, the things that are just not partisan issues, the wearing of the mask and all this, it's just ludicrous at this point. That I kind of tell folks that our fellow Floridians, imagine that we had a governor in the state of Florida with a Category 5 hurricane barreling towards the state of Florida and said, nah, don't worry about it. Kids go to school, don't board up your house. No need to prepare. It's
right.
Voluntary, right? We don't want to force you to prepare, right? Not setting the example, not really leading to save lives. Now, the difference is the individual who chooses not to prepare for a hurricane, as stupid as that is, they endanger themselves and their families. In this case, the lack of leadership from our governor, from our president, is endangering everybody's life.
Right. Well, and another big example of that is the push to open schools. I mean, look, I am a public school advocate. I believe in traditional public education. It was why I ran for governor, because I knew that if we elected another Republican, that the Jeb Bush, Richard Corcoran push to privatize our public education was gonna have even more opportunity to do so. And I was right. Sometimes I really wish I wasn't right, Chris. There are a lot.
Not on these things, right? You don't want to be.
So look, as a mom who had 3 children that went through the public school system, who I was very involved. I was, in the PTA. I was a band mom. I get it, and I get the fact that for many, they can't go back to work because they need childcare. I get it. I totally get it, and I'm sympathetic to it. But the reality is, we're in such a situation right now with the COVID spread that we're seeing that that it's not safe. It's not safe to send our kids back to school, and that should be the number one priority. And then on the another consideration, and because I worked in the school district, I don't know if you know this, Chris, but I worked in the school district for 7 years, and so it's something that I have experience. I'm not just speaking about it. I've actually done this.
Right.
It takes a lot to open up a school district, to have that first day of school be successful for everybody involved, from the bus driver that meets the kids in the morning, to the school patrol that's welcoming kids into the classroom, to the custodians that, do such a great job keeping the schools clean. And it's going to be so even more important. I mean, my God, that's probably, the custodians are probably the ones we're going to need to make sure, have everything they need at this point. To the people that work in the lunchroom, to the teachers who, I have to tell you, teachers are my heroes. I mean, what they do every day to help raise our children and raise them well and educate them well. In the environment we're in now, where it's like, well, is it safe? Are we going to open? It would be, and I'm sure there's someone, I don't know who's on this call, but someone tell Governor DeSantis this. He would be a hero if he just said, we've got to do this right. We've got to do this safely. I understand the desire to have kids back in school, but you only have one chance in a school year to do it in the right way for everybody involved in the process, including the kids. There is no way, I promise you this, there is no way that we can open schools and have it be a successful first day of school for everybody involved. And that's what we should want, and a safe first day at school. So just, don't do what Donald Trump tells you to do. How about that as a start? How about that? Hi, Debbie.
Good starting point.
I see Debbie is and I agree with you. If DeSantis had done his job, it would be safe, but he hasn't, so it's not. But I agree with you, Debbie, as usual. I know it would be in his best interest to say, we're going to postpone the opening of school. I've suggested October 1, and we're going to get COVID down. I think we're going to have to shut Florida down. That's not easy for me to say. I have great compassion for the small businesses across our state. They're the backbone of our state's economy. But here's the reality. We are in a position right now where people are not safe to go out. They know they're not safe anymore. So until we have a feeling that we've got COVID under control, our economy is not going to be able to rebound. We made a massive mistake by following what Donald Trump told Ron DeSantis to do. We never really had it under control. I've not believed the Healthy Florida data from the very beginning. But now we're in a position, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. That's one of my favorite sayings. We're where we are now. And so we've got to make good decisions going forward, and putting the health and safety and welfare of Floridians first, and knowing that once we have that under control, listen to the doctors, listen to the scientists, get away, take anyone out of the room that has a political agenda involved, focus on how to do this so that we're as safe as possible, and then open up when we reach that point. And that, if we do it right, if we take these next couple months and do it right, we can open schools on October 1 and have the entire process be a positive one for everybody involved.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I don't, because I've been there, I've done that. It takes a lot to have a successful school opening. And there is, in my opinion, and God bless everyone involved that's trying, but how we are at, what's the date today? I lose track of dates.
Today is Tuesday, July 21st.
Okay.
15 weeks left. And I know you have on your phone the countdown to the election, as I do as well. I don't know if you can see it there, but 105 days left.
Oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait. I mean, I really, in Florida, and we're changing back to Joe Biden, which is what I know we're supposed to talk about. But, and I want to also say a couple of things about my dear friend, John Lewis. We can win Florida. He can put together the coalition that has won Florida in the past. And, it's the winning, it's the combination. The state, a very diverse state from one end to the other. It's a margin, but we can get back many of the voters that voted for Obama and then voted for Trump, suburban women who are disgusted with Trump and who voted for him because they felt like, I heard it so many times, he's not going to be as bad as he is on the campaign trail. Well, guess what? He was worse.
He said, "Oh, I'll become presidential as soon as I enter the presidential office." We're still waiting. We're still waiting.
Long wait, Chris. It's going to be. He can't. He's not. People don't change, and I know people in New York City that have known Donald Trump for a very long time. I've never met him, as far as I know. I don't think he would be unremarkable to me. So that's probably the greatest insult you can give Donald Trump, is to say you wouldn't care if you met him, or you wouldn't remember it if you met him. Right. But people who know him best like him least, and that says a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now we always like him, but
including his own niece.
Truly, I watched that Rachel Maddow interview. That was something.
Yeah, it was the highest rated Rachel Maddow show in history, right?
Really? Didn't know that.
Yeah, she got more ratings that night than ever before. It's a really, really challenging time for our country, but the choice could not be clearer. And I want to thank you for your leadership and getting us to this point, keeping our fellow Floridians focused on, yes, we have amazing candidates, but we got to win Florida. And here we are, like I said at the beginning of this segment, Joe Biden up 6 points in the Real Clear Politics average in Florida. Agreed. Agreed.
If the polls had been correct, I would have been probably speaking to you as governor of Florida.
Right.
But the polls were off. So don't ever. We all have to act as if we're miles behind. Like we have to all vote like our lives depend on it, because they do. And so it's, I would rather be us than them at this point, but take nothing for granted.
Absolutely. We got to work. I always say as if we're 20 points behind. And
there's so many important races. Let me just say this too. We talk about, I'm very Florida centric. I know that's a shocker. I was Florida centric in the womb. But we've got to elect Democrats into our state house, into our state Senate. We've got to regain control of the legislature, because now we see what happens when you have a governor that can be manipulated by the legislature. And DeSantis, because he's planning on running for president in 2024, I know he's got to win in 2022 first, but anyway, he's made that a lot harder for himself.
Right.
But we've got to elect, and look, I am not a partisan person. For some people, that's not something that they like. They wish I was much more partisan. I believe in good people. And as I was growing up in politics, and yes, I didn't decide to run until I was older, because I never saw that as my path, but I was always involved. I kind of had a front row seat because of my dad. And we used to have really good people in both parties, and people that put the people of Florida first. And once you got elected, frankly, you didn't know, it wasn't, you didn't lead with whether you were a Democrat or Republican. You led with your commitment to the people that you represent. And we've gotten away from that. And I hope that we will start to see, I'm always a silver lining person, as you know, Chris. And my silver lining in this horrible situation we find ourselves in is that people are really recognizing that it matters who you elect. That and being someone that cares about others, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, that at your core is going to make you a better leader. It's going to make you someone that's able to look at issues and put aside the politics of the issues and make a decision based on how are you going to make a real positive difference in someone's life. And we got to get back to that. And frankly, until Trump is gone, I think many of the Republicans in the state, I'm appalled at what I see the Florida GOP doing. They've just sold out to Trump. They have sold out. But I promise you this, when Trump is gone, they will see the light. They will see the light. All of a sudden,
we're starting to see it already, right?
Right, we are. The Senate,
a little bit.
I'm starting to see, but But anyway,
except
party. Where's the big party going to be on November 3rd, 2020?
Right here. Right here. That's why we're doing these every Tuesday night at 7:00. We're going live here on Biden for Florida. We started at the 20-week mark, and we're telling all of our fellow Floridians, it doesn't look like we're going to likely be able to have a big in-person victory party. So just like we did for the primary, we're going to have a big virtual victory party right in this space.
That's true.
We'll be celebrating as we did on the primary night.
That night too, wasn't I?
Yeah, you were. You've been
feelings hurt if you didn't ask me.
Well, you got to be with us, and we're gonna try and connect with Floridians all over the state that evening and make it a really big special celebration because we're gonna finally correct course.
Well, I don't know how long you want me to talk, and as you know,
Well,
I could talk for a long time. But I would like to just say a couple words if it's okay.
yeah, and you were asking who's watching. We actually have one of our viewers, James Trout, said
Hi,
he's
James.
watching. I'm watching, and I know that there are lots of people watching specifically because of what we shared with them. We were going to be talking about tonight. We wanted to end tonight's segment on tonight's broadcast on a little bit more of a serious note because our country is in a serious moment, despite the fact that Donald Trump on Saturday decided to take off golfing with Lindsey Graham and didn't decide to make a statement on this until well into the day, after lots of media pressure and pressure from even fellow Republicans. We learned early Saturday morning, I guess really late on Friday night, that Congressman John Lewis had passed away. And you served with Congressman Lewis when you were a Congresswoman. And I know that you said it just a few moments ago that he's a dear friend of yours. And I thought as we were getting ready for tonight's broadcast that it was important for us to take some time to honor the life of Congressman Lewis. And I thought you were the perfect person to help us do that. So,
well, I'm looking at his picture, and I actually, on the 50th anniversary of Bloody Sunday, had the honor of walking across that bridge with Congressman Lewis. And it was the time that you see a lot of photos of it now where President Obama was there as well. I just have to say this. We've talked a lot about character in terms of being a good person. There is no better person I've ever met in my life than Congressman John Lewis. The moment I met him, and he actually came to Tallahassee to campaign for me when I was running for Congress, and he endorsed my gubernatorial campaign. The minute I met him, we bonded. And I'm going to try not to cry. I really am, because I have had a lot of wonderful people in my life, and I've known a lot of great public servants. There is none more committed to doing what was right than Congressman Lewis. He truly was the moral conscience of the House of Representatives. I mean, he's the moral conscience of our country. If we all could live our lives, and I'm looking at his face right now, if we all could live our lives trying to be half as kind and half as good as Congressman Lewis, we would all be far better people. With all that he went through in his life, there was not a bitter bone in his body. And he always led with love. And that's what I try to do. You know, I really do believe that love, love conquers all. And we've lost some of that. Well, quite frankly, we've lost a lot of that today with the divisiveness that we see and the hatred that we see. I never saw any of that in John. And so from the moment that we met, we were bonded, and we always, every time we saw each other, we would always give each other a big hug. You know, I'm a hugger, and it's tough during these times because I can't hug anyone. But we always hugged each other and told each other that we loved each other. And, I had heard about a week exactly before he passed, he didn't even make it another week, that the treatment was really difficult for him. And so I know I prayed for, there it is. That's the picture. That's one of the pictures of us hugging. That I love that picture. When I heard he had my husband has prostate cancer. Gosh, keep my cancer straight. When I heard he had pancreatic cancer, I changed what's it called on Twitter? I don't even know, the little picture in the corner to that picture, because I wanted every single day to remember and to think of him And whatever you think of prayers, I believe that it can't hurt, and pray for him. I believe that the positive vibes that people send does make a difference, and so I'm glad he's out of pain. I'm glad that he's at peace. There was a video, not a video, there was a cartoon, I think I put it on Twitter, of him walking across the bridge, the famous bridge in Selma, and walking into heaven. And if he was an angel on earth, and heaven has very lucky to have him now. And it's a great loss for our country, but I really hope that we are able to use what he stood for in a positive way, and to come out and vote for John, vote for a better country that he fought for his whole life. The fact that he didn't go, and I respected it, he had the strength to not go to that inauguration of Donald Trump. He didn't go, and it really made Donald Trump angry. But he just did not feel that he was someone that he could give that honor to, that he would go and stand on the stage. And of course, he always got so much attention wherever he went, rightfully. And I respect him for that. But it as you know, Donald Trump has been so ugly about John Lewis, Congressman Lewis, because Donald Trump is not a person that could, even in his little pinky, have any of the respect and love that people have for Congressman Lewis, John, my friend. So I will miss him, but I have redoubled my efforts to recognize that we need good people in public service, and people like him. I'm redoubling my efforts to be an advocate for that in our politics and in our public service. We should all hashtag be like John. So appreciate your opportunity, giving me a chance to just say a couple words about him, because I really loved him. It wasn't just something that, immense respect for him, immense respect. But I truly loved him, and his loss is a major loss for my heart. But he will always be in my heart.
Absolutely. The national, the entire nation's heart is mourning because.
But let's take his what he would want. I know this. What he would want is for us to fight like hell now, to fight for the things that he believed in. And on November 3rd, 2020, we've got to come out for John, and vote. However you vote. And people have asked me, do you think you should vote, by mail? Should you, and whatever, do you vote early? I said, vote. If we have the numbers, that's what's going to make sure that the victory that Joe will achieve cannot be questioned. And so it's going to be numbers. Just come out, and however you choose to vote. And remember that, the America that Congressman Lewis fought for is on the line. So do it for John. Do it for our country. Do it for your neighbors. Do it because you care. And it's not about politics. It's that ended a long time ago.
Absolutely. And Gwen, I wanted to ask you before we wrap up this evening about that photo that we did put up, and about your time serving with Congressman Lewis in Congress, right? Can you tell us a little bit about this moment? And I know that you've spoken at length about helping to be part of that sit-in on the floor of Congress when the Republicans just refused to do anything on gun control.
That's
right. It's the leadership that we saw from John Lewis that really helped move the needle. Maybe in some cases didn't have legislative victories, but certainly moved the needle of the hearts and minds of fellow Americans that looked at what the Republicans were doing and said, this is just too much. this is ridiculous. And if you think about it, that's literally what he did in Selma, right? It was that those images that went out across the entire country that people maybe that hadn't considered the importance of the civil rights movement up until that point sat back and said, wow, like this is ridiculous, and this is not what the United States of America is or should be. And similarly, they saw those images of you and other members of Congress that were being led by John Lewis to sit on the floor of the House of Representatives and say, we're not going to let one more innocent life be lost because we need to take action. So can you share a little bit about the behind the scenes? I never had the opportunity, unfortunately, and I never will now, to personally meet him. But can you share a little bit of that insight about how he was a leader that helped even lead those that are leading our country?
Well, the impact of gun violence on our state and our country goes on every day, and we have these moments where there's a major incident. And when I was in Congress, it was when the Pulse nightclub massacre occurred, and you really are shocked that there's just not a recognition that we've got to do something. Try it. Let's try to do something that will curtail these violent gun episodes that we see. Those are the high profile ones, but frankly, we're losing people every day to senseless gun violence. And the NRA certainly does have control. And during that period, one of the things that Congressman Lewis, John always spoke about, and I've seen Congressman Clyburn speaking about this recently, is that they really believe in peaceful protest, and they're concerned about some of the violent protests that they see. So that was something that John really believed in. He believed in the sit-in movement, and so we made the decision to sit in because at that time, when I served in Congress, and we were in the minority, and so the Republicans would not bring up any of the legislation. And I actually co-sponsored a very reasonable bill with, at that point, Republican Congressman David Jolly, that all it said, this is all it said: if you're on a no, if you can't fly, wait, let me see if I get it straight. It's been a while.
That you couldn't own a gun, right? If you're on the no-fly list.
Right. Well, but so it was, if you can't fly, you can't buy a gun. That's what it is.
Yeah.
If you're not allowed to fly on an airplane, because they're
Common
concerned
sense.
you're a terrorist, you shouldn't be able to buy a gun in the United States of America.
Right.
Come on. That common sense. So David and I, we submitted this bill together. I'm proud. Every single bill that I submitted in Congress had a bipartisan Republican sponsor. We got to get back to having that type of recognition that this is not a Republican piece of legislation or a Democratic piece of legislation. It's an American, it's a Floridian, it's something that's going to be in the best interest of those that you represent.
Right.
And they wouldn't even bring it up. So we decided to have a sit-in, and John was, of course, as always, the leader. And they turned the lights off on us. Did you know that, Chris?
I remember watching. They at one point they turned it off on C-SPAN, and then you guys used technology like this, right? Live streaming.
And then they actually brought up ethical charges against the members of Congress that did this. It all went away, of course, but eventually, but again, I think that is a good example of how far we've come from having a functional Congress, that the respect or the lack of respect for different points of view is just to turn the lights off on your colleagues. How juvenile, truly. I mean, so, but one thing I want to share is that every week we had a standing meeting in the House Democratic Caucus. and it's in one of the kind of large meeting rooms. At least when I was there, it was. And you get served, provide food. They will come, right? So they have food and everything, and everybody sits around. And there's a lot of socialization. But I'll tell you, whenever Congressman Lewis spoke, everybody stopped. Everybody listened. And we all knew that what he was saying needed to be heard. There's a photo. I don't think you've seen it. My husband put it up on his page. I can't get it right now, but of Dad and me. I asked Congressman Lewis to come and speak at the Graham Center at the University of Florida, and he came. And it was one of the largest events that the Graham Center ever had. We had to move it to the auditorium because so many people wanted to hear Congressman Lewis speak. And there's a photo of Dad and me just listening. He was speaking to me, and Dad and I, we were just listening. We were like laser focused on him because there it is. You found it. Because when he spoke, you needed to listen, really listen. And that will be missed. He even quieted the House caucus, the House Democrat caucus. Such a great man.
Fortunately, we don't have enough leadership like that anymore. And let's hope that
picture, that's impressive. Excellent.
Yeah, well,
excellent work there.
Yeah, use the search function very quickly there. But we need more good leaders like that, and I really believe that Joe Biden's example will set a new era in American democracy in place beginning November 3rd, because, like you said, the Republicans will run tail and say, "Oh, we found God all of a sudden again," and a lot of Democrats and independents will look to the kind of leader that Joe Biden is, working with people across the aisle to actually solve problems, and say that is what American democracy is all about. And that's the example that we need to set for the entire world. So
that's right.
Gwen, thank you so. Yeah.
Wait for it to happen. How many days? 105?
105 today, 15 weeks. It is right now 8:42 p.m. So my contention is around this time in 15 weeks, we'll have a very good sense that Joe Biden has flipped Florida blue and that he will be POTUS 46. And where do you want to be? Right here on the Biden for Florida page, because you know who's going to be here? Gwen Graham. I don't know that you want to hear from me, but you want to hear from lots of other special Floridians all over the state that we're going to be connecting with that night. And we'll be doing this every single Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Conversations like this with fellow Floridians that put what's at stake in this election into context and have people understand. And starting next week, we're also going to be doing something special that I've been wanting to do for a few weeks, but we always have like these tremendous important conversations. We had Anna Navarro on a few weeks ago. We had Chairwoman Rizzo. We've had several other elected officials that have joined us. And, I want to make sure in the weeks ahead, we're going to have a segment where we're going to be talking about the myths that are out there about Joe Biden, right? Things that you very often hear from Trump supporters, see on social media. And we're going to give you the tools as to how to respond to those, right? Because they're all malarkey. So.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's good.
Absolutely.
That's good to do. Thank you for doing that. And Chris, I'm so thankful for all you're doing. And this is totally grassroots. And you built this incredible, Florida for Biden group. And is it Biden for Florida or Florida for Biden? Does it matter?
So to be fair, Robert Palacios started this even before Joe Biden launched his campaign. And what he said is the Obama and Hillary team did Obama for America, Hillary for America. And so he emulated that. And because just like Obama won with Obama for America, we're going to win with Biden for Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you for all you're doing. And as you know, I was getting ready to hop on my exercise bike, and I was like, yes, for you, Chris, I will get re-showered. I will redo my hair. I will re-put on my makeup. And here I am. So, just I care so passionately about electing Joe Biden, the next president of the United States. And I know you do as well. So you just let me know how I can help and I'll be there.
Thank you. And I'm sure we'll connect quite a few times over the next 15 weeks. And one of your followers posted just a few moments ago,
every single day.
Yep.
Every single day, I am tweeting about the largest rally against racism that this country has ever had, and that is November 3rd, 2020. And I've made a commitment every day to tweet out that the rally against racism is going to occur on November 3rd, 2020. Mark's Barnett just put it up. So
yes.
Yeah. So again, vote. There's so many reasons. There's so many reasons.
And in case you were wondering, where is the rally against racism? At your polling location.
Polling or in your mailbox.
or your mailbox.
Or if you want to go early vote.
Right.
Look, I've had people say, well, I'm worried that my vote's not going to count if I do it this way or I do it that way. Just vote. The numbers we got to have. So thank you. They just put up the numbers. We've got to have huge numbers. Mm-hmm. So however you choose to vote, don't worry about whether one way is better than the other. Just vote. Whatever is easiest for you. Just vote.
Yeah, and the Florida Dems put up this great resource, which we try to put up before we end each week. And it's fl.dems.vote/mail.
Right.
You have an entire list of all 67 counties, how you can request your vote by mail ballot online. And I want to say one last thing because it came up earlier, not during this live stream, but with a conversation with somebody, the question about vote by mail ballot. The great thing about vote by mail is that if you do, especially if you do it early, right, you have the ability to, you can call your supervisor of elections, or in most cases, you can actually go on their website and they have a tracker that they can tell you when it was mailed to you, when it was received, and the date that it was actually counted, right? So make sure you do that. This vote is too important for you to sit back and not be proactive and not stay on top of your vote and make sure it gets counted. But it's literally that simple to make sure that your vote gets counted. Vote by mail is a very safe and secure way to vote. Even the president of the United States does it that way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And really, it shows how clueless Donald Trump is, because the state of Florida, the Republicans have so far outmaneuvered the Democrats in their vote by mail program that Trump's criticism of it makes no sense, because it's been one of the strongest ways that they've been able to win in Florida.
Yeah.
So let's just not let him win anymore.
Yeah. We'll keep it our little secret.
How about that?
but it's our secret with you that's watching right now.
Everybody, every and Republicans as well, and there are a lot of them who are appalled at this president.
Yeah.
And
the Lincoln Project. Yeah. So many good things.
Did you see the thing they did on DeSantis today?
No, I have not.
Awesome. It's on my Twitter page.
So we gotta follow Gwen. We gotta follow people like Chairwoman Rizzo. Follow your delegates and follow us into this convention that's a month away, where we're gonna nominate Joe Biden as our nominee on his way to being the next president of the United States. And keep following us here on the Biden for Florida page.
Go Joe.
Let's go, Joe. Let's flip Florida blue with Biden. Thank you so much, Gwen. And tonight we are going to end with a very special video, which is the trailer of the movie about John Lewis. If you have not watched it, make sure you watch it. It's called Good Trouble. And I want to end tonight encouraging you all to go out and make good trouble, like John Lewis.
My dear friend, Good Trouble, the best trouble. I'm going to miss him. Miss him a lot.
We all will. But we will honor his memory.
Yeah. I'm going to watch.
Thank you, Gwen. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Bye-bye.
My philosophy is very simple. When you see something that is not right, not fair, not just, say something, do something, get in trouble, good trouble, necessary trouble.
He was always different than every member of Congress. Everybody knew what he had done. He was John Lewis.
We're marching today to dramatize to the world that hundreds and thousands of Negro citizens denied the right to vote.
Congressman Lewis gave us the blueprint to organize and to legislate.
The reason why he's effective as a leader is because he's lived it.
We made a decision to march in an orderly, peaceful, nonviolent fashion from Selma to Montgomery.
You are ordered to disperse. This march will not continue.
I was hit in the head. My knees went from under me. I thought I was going to down the bridge.
If John Lewis, as a 19, 20-year-old, wasn't doing what he did, I would not be here.
We will march with the spirit of love and with the spirit of dignity that we have shown here today.
The whole time he was in the movement, it was frightening, knowing the danger, knowing what could happen.
You cannot replace a John Lewis.
He's the most courageous person I ever met.
Too many people struggled and died to make it possible for every American to exercise their right to vote.
He challenges the conscience of the Congress.
Bring common sense gun control legislation to the House floor.
40 years later, John Lewis continues to inspire us.
Are you with me? Let me hear you. 3 civil rights workers that were murdered for trying to help people get registered to vote are looking down on us.
This is a time for action. That's what I learned from John Lewis.
There are forces in America today want to take us back, but we're not going back. We're going forward.